Anyway, you never know. You never know. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Crue Trime. Crue Trime? Crue Trime. Crue Trime. If you are new here, hi! My name is Sara, and what I'm gonna do today is tell you a terrible story to ruin your day and put on my makeup while I do it. So if that sounds good to you, then just go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any new uploads, because I've got some real good ones coming. And when I say good, I mean, you know, terrible. Today's story was recommended to me by a lovely viewer named Amanda. Hi, Amanda. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. This is the story of Christopher Fratantonio. Before we get into the details of today's story, guess what? Today's video is sponsored by Ana Luisa. Get your holiday shopping on and save up to 25% on everything at Ana Luisa. No code necessary, just check down in the description box. The link is right on top. I made it really easy for you because I like you. They actually have a few different deals going on right now, so there is something to suit every shopping cart. There are some super cute additions to the Ana Luisa collection, and I have a couple of them to show you right meow. So first up is this adorable necklace. This is the Charlie. This retails for $59. It's an adorable tiny key pendant on a gold chain. I'm a creature of habit and I'm super into this whole lock and key type of vibe, this motif. It's adorable. Next are the 14 karat gold Suki earrings. Totally mod, totally dainty, and totally an amazing value. This pair retails for $39. And last, for the holidays, you gotta put on a little bit of sparkle, and these are perfect, okay? These retail for $59. They are also 14 karat gold. These are the Xing earrings. Xing? Xing? At any rate, these delicate Huggie hoops with the tiniest little stars you ever did see, featuring cubic zirconia on the hoops and on the stars. Also, life hack, you can very gently slide off the little star from the hoop for a totally different look. We love a multitasker. So shop analuisa.com for carbon neutral jewelry made from recycled materials. There is something for every budget and every style. And for the rest of the holiday season, you can save big time. Everything's on sale. Happy holidays, and back to you, Goblin Sara. Wow, Goblin. I mean, accurate. Okay, so today's story comes from one of my most favorite places. It's New England, the Boston area. If there is an accent that I love more than the Australian accent, it's the Boston accent.
I'm not just a cop. I'm a father, I'm a son, and above all, I'm from Boston.
Boston accent.
I mean, do you guys think I could do the entire video in the Boston accent?
Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
Wow, chill out, Marky Mark. By the way, I don't really talk about the makeup that I'm using in these videos as I'm putting it on, so if you are interested to see any of the stuff that I'm using, just check the description box because everything is linked down there for you. Okay, for real. Here we go. In the early morning hours of February 28th, 2017, a flurry of 911 calls were made in Barnstable.
Yeah, I come down to Dunkin' every day. Grab a Corolla, have an extra large, 3 Parliaments, take a big dump. That's kind of the routine.
I'm just kidding, you guys. It's Barnstable. In Barnstable, Massachusetts, neighbors of Chris and Molly Fratantonio had heard some alarming noises coming from their house, and they called the police to ask for a well-being check. So there were also some other calls made, but we'll come back to those. When police arrived at 89 Trout Brook Road in Cotuit, which is normally like a quiet and chill neighborhood in Barnstable. Barnstable is the largest town on Cape Cod. It's like the hook off of Massachusetts. Anyway, so police arrived, right? And they found 37-year-old Christopher standing outside, like smoking a cigarette. He calmly told the police, "I just killed my wife." Police officers described his demeanor as very normal, and his answers were matter of fact, you know, flat tone, very cooperative. Inside the house, officers found 35-year-old Molly. She went by Molly Fratantonio. She was dead in the bedroom, and there was a black-handled kitchen knife still stuck in her neck. Neighbors later described Molly and Chris as, quiet, good people. Nobody ever really had a sense that anything was wrong at the house, but you never really know. So, how did it get to this point? I'm glad you asked. So, in the hours before the murder happened, Christopher had scrolled through Molly's cell phone, reading text messages between Molly and a man that he believed that she was having an affair with. He then went upstairs to confront her. She told him that she wanted a divorce. And it's something that she had brought up a few times in recent months. Things at home weren't great between them, apparently. Well, he then grabbed a knife from the kitchen, went outside to smoke a cigarette, to think about things a little bit. And then, once Molly was in bed, Chris attacked, and he stabbed her upwards of 34 times, and in some areas, the wounds were more than 6 inches deep. Well, just when you think it doesn't get worse, it does, because their 2 children were home at the time, 6-year-old Lucy and 2-year-old Lucas. Now, they weren't physically harmed at all, but they had to have heard what happened, and they might have seen it too. So, Christopher Scott Melvin was born on November 28th, 1980, and I don't have a ton of background on him or really on Molly for that matter, but I did find that his family is originally from Italy. He attended high school in Cape Cod, but he dropped out after 10th grade. So from what I could gather, he wasn't really a party kind of a guy. He wasn't into drugs or alcohol. Now, he was married before he and Molly were married. I wasn't able to find her name at all, but he did have 2 daughters from that previous relationship. So Christopher was employed with Mashpee Flooring beginning around 2005, when his first wife was pregnant with their first daughter. They had began the process of changing their last name from Melvin to his mother's maiden name, Fratantonio. I don't know why he did that, but he did. I mean, Fratantonio is kind of cooler than Melvin. No shade to the Melvins out there. It's just a little spicier, spicy meatball. So Chris was young and had little to no credit, definitely no savings of any kind. And his boss, Tim Newman, took him under his wing. He even bought him a truck, and then let Chris make the payments, from his paycheck every month. It's really nice. Well, when Chris was still married to his first wife, he met Molly online. A scandalo. All right, hang on. I have to put on eyebrows. BRB. Okay, all right, I think we're in business. I'm just gonna cover them up with my bangs anyways. Wow, that was really worth the effort. Okay, Molly. So, Mary Molly McClatchy was born in Nyack, Massachusetts, which is a tiny little town. Literally, it's like the smallest municipality in the entire state. Molly was very close to her grandmother Nancy, who lived just down the street as she was growing up. In Molly's teen years, she lived in Texas for a time, and she struggled with drugs and alcohol. But with her family's support, she got her shit together, man. And she went to college. She even got her master's degree at Lesley University, and she went on to become a teacher in New Bedford and Hyannis. And most recently, she was an 8th grade special education teacher at Barnstable High School. Her students loved her. Chris and Molly, their relationship was wild from day one. Now, maybe that's what kind of drew them together, conflict and drama. So people thrive on that. I mean, it sounds fucking terrible to me, but anyway. So, like I said, Chris worked at Mashpee Flooring for about 10 years until 2014, and then he went out on his own. He sometimes would work with Mashpee as a contractor, like a subcontractor. And he was really close to his boss, Tim, and he would often talk to him about his troubles with Molly, their relationship. So their first big fight he remembers, Tim, was back in 2008, and it was only a few months into their relationship. Now, Tim would later tell investigators, "I never seen someone who was supposed to love someone else say the things that those two would say to each other." And this had started right off the bat. So Tim would tell Chris that his relationship was, quote, "not how it's supposed to be." I find that little nugget interesting because the neighbors, remember, say that they were quiet, nice, normal people, that they didn't suspect anything was going on at home. You never know. You never know.
You cannot trust anybody, ever.
In fact, police records and court documents from an incident in October 2008 described a physical altercation between Chris and Molly, and this is before they got married. Molly wrote in her statement, "He took my phone and he threw it against the wall and broke it. I hit him. He grabbed me, picked me up, slammed me in the floor, left the room, and then came back and kicked me in the head. And then he held me on the floor for a little while I struggled." This is before they got married. All right, according to Facebook, Molly and Chris got married on June 26th, 2009, and they went on to have 2 children together, a girl named Lucy and a boy named Lucas. All right, so we have established that their relationship was super duper rocky, you know? It's just like all bad. Molly's parents would later tell investigators that some of the fighting stemmed from Chris's jealous personality and that he was very controlling. And he would withhold money and question her whenever she went out. And over the years, Molly slipped back into drug use. Now, over the years, Molly really leaned on her mom and stepdad, specifically for financial support. So one report described how her stepdad, Tom, lent her a significant amount of money over time, you know, sometimes thousands of dollars in a month. Now, Tim thought that he was helping her to pay the mortgage and the utilities, you know, because Chris was known to be financially irresponsible, according to Molly. But his heart sank when he learned the truth. You know, Molly was back on drugs. Things had gotten so scary, he later testified that they kept Narcan at their house in case she overdosed. They said that Chris used Molly's drug dependency as a means to control her, you know, to keep her dependent on him. Ugh. Sad. Chris spoke to his friends about his troubled marriage, confiding some very personal matters, right? He was pretty close to Molly's brother's ex-girlfriend, Ashley Horn. Chris told Ashley how Molly had blocked him from being able to view her Facebook page, which is super sus, as the kids say. Anyway, Chris used Ashley as like a monitor because she could see Molly's Facebook, and then she would report back to Chris what was going on. And that's, I mean, none of that is good, like top to bottom. We have established this. And listen, here's some advice from me to you, friends. Don't. You might think that you're being a good friend doing something like that, but don't get involved with other people's relationship issues unless it's to help like secure somebody's immediate safety, okay? Don't do it. So Chris's other friend, a co-worker, his name was John Ilaqua. Anyways, he later told investigators that Chris had made an off-the-cuff remark about wanting to kill Molly. But, of course, he just thought it was words. You know, we all say wild shit about our partners sometimes, especially when we're upset. That's pretty normal, right? Right? Let me do some eyeliner. BRB. Okay, where was I? Oh, hold on to your butts. So at 1:30 a.m. on February 28th, 2017, we're back at the beginning of the story, John, this coworker friend of Chris's, got a call from Chris. He told John, I need you to come to the house and watch the kids because I'm going to be going to the Barnstable Police Department to turn myself in because I just killed Molly. So John lived in a nearby town called Sandwich. It was about 20 minutes away. He didn't call the police. Instead, he went in person to tell them about this wild phone call. So then the Sandwich Police Department reached out to the Barnstable Police Department. Well, you guys, John was not the only one that Chris had reached out to that night. Ashley, Chris's other friend, remember? She lived in Quincy, which is about an hour away from there. Well, Chris texted her photographs of Molly's dead body with the knife in her neck, okay? So just like the call that he made to John, he said that he needed somebody to watch the kids because he was gonna go turn himself in. What? This absolute piece of shit not only murdered his wife, he then took pictures of it. And the pictures, by the way, had one of the kids in it. Like not, you know, posed with her, but you could see him. The kid actually had been cropped out of the photograph before it was sent, but in the investigation they were able to get the original. The trial began about a year after Molly's death, and it lasted 5 days. Chris's defense attorney, Colleen Duarte, argued that Fratantonio had suffered from post-traumatic stress resulting from sexual abuse that he had suffered as a child. Also some lingering effects of 2 concussions, the second of which left him colorblind. He also suffered from anxiety and depression and had a dependence disorder. All right, now that I have sufficiently covered my face with eyelash glue, do you see all that? All right, so Chris is depressed and he has childhood trauma and blah, blah, blah. So the defense's case described the couple's violent, volatile relationship, often explosive. They said that Molly was verbally abusive towards Chris, telling him that he was disgusting and not a man, and whatever malicious insults that she could think of that would hurt him the most. They also said that Molly was addicted to pain pills and would get angry with Chris if he wouldn't get them for her. Their marriage was a shit show, okay? Chris said that he had been sleeping on the couch for like 4 years at that point. But I'm a little confusion because they have 2 kids, right? And the one was 2 years old, so there must have been some bedroom activities going on, right? I'm not saying the relationship was good. I just have questions. I guess what I'm saying is it just really speaks to the chaos that must have been brewing in their life, right? And what kind of secret shenanigans sometimes go on behind closed doors. Anyway, so in court testimony, text messages between Molly and Chris showed that they would go back and forth declaring how much they hated each other, but then how much they loved each other. Toxic. Okay, we've established this. Okay, so there was also a straight-up battle over the cell phone records being used as evidence in the trial. The defense argued that the evidence gleaned from Christopher's cell phone should be suppressed, excluded, on the basis of the search warrant not being detailed enough. Well, that search warrant had requested the search and seizure of any and all data stored on the phone, which includes photos, text messages, contact lists, metadata, all of it, but not specifically this or that thing. Anyway, the motion to suppress was denied. I mean, just think about that for a second, right? So eliminating the cell phone evidence would exclude all of the conversations and that photo of Molly's dead body. I mean, his fingerprints were on the murder weapon, her blood was literally on his hands, and he confessed to the crime. So that cell phone evidence is pretty damning for the defense's case that it wasn't premeditated. So it seems like it was just legal gymnastics aimed at getting a reduced charge and a lesser sentence. A jury of 7 women and 5 men deliberated for about 2 hours before they returned their verdict. Guilty. They also determined that the murder was committed with premeditation and extreme atrocity and cruelty. Fratantonio showed little emotion during the reading of the verdict other than clenching and unclenching his fingers. Judge Gary Nickerson imposed the maximum sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. So Molly Fratantonio was laid to rest in the Green Lawn Cemetery in Nyack, Massachusetts. Her mother, Joan, and stepfather, Tom, are raising the children. Their last names have been changed. Christopher Fratantonio is currently serving his sentence at the Massachusetts Correctional Institution, Cedar Junction. Fun fact, MCI Cedar Junction is where all of the Massachusetts license plates are made by prisoners by hand. It's like no shit old school tool and die presses with like the numbers and the letters. And they make like 1 million of them every year. So like I said, this story was recommended by Amanda. Thank you, friend. The story is bonkers, and even more crazy is that Amanda had a first-hand interaction with this dude about a year before this happened. So Amanda's parents' home was built in the 1600s, very historic New England vibes. And the house has its original wood floors. And Amanda's mom wanted to, have them refinished, bring them back to life, as it were. So she contracted Mashpee Flooring for the job, and who was the person who did the work? Christopher Fratantonio. Amanda said that he was perfectly nice and did a good job. You never know. You guys are always like surprising me in the comments, or sending me emails or DMs or whatever about somebody that you knew or that you know or that you have some kind of connection to a story that I've covered. I mean, it's crazy. Anyways, I'm always saying it. The world is truly, truly small. And I think most of us have a closer connection to crimes like these more than we think. Well, that, friends, is the story of Christopher Fratantonio. Thank you again to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this episode of Crue Trime. Make sure that you check down in the description box for the link to go shopping, and everything I showed you today will be listed down there as well. Also, as I mentioned, all of the makeup that I used today will be listed down in the description box. This lipstick just really surprised me today. Thank you so much for hanging out today and for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this one, then consider subscribing to this channel before you leave today. I upload new videos here on YouTube every week, and you can follow me on all of the socials. So social. That is it for now. I will catch you next time in the next video. Bye! Christopher Fratantonio. Correctional percent. 89 Trout Book. Wow, that angle is not good. True crime story. Nope. Crue Trime story. If you are new here. Wow, that looks terrible. 5 men deliberated. Wow, that's a hard word. There's the bucket mascara that I want to